What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and some more Hail Caesar coverage as we're moving on here, and we're covering the Franks today, which is an exciting list. So it covers roughly the 3rd through 5th centuries period of the Franks here. So things to look at, of course, Salian Franks migration period, Battle of the Catalonian Plains. This is an interesting list, similar somewhat to the Saxons that we've looked at recently. So cavalry here can make up to 10% of the list. This is still basically an infantry-dominated faction here, so infantry 75% or more, so you could go all infantry if you want. Warbands, again, will be 50% of your infantry or more, again, not counting skirmishers, and then typical division and skirmisher breakdowns there. This gives you some flexibility in building too, as far as different groups within the Franks and other similar barbarians or Germanic tribes that were allied with them. And so basically just in the loadout of the different war bands here. So again, not a very large list by any means here. So basically your infantry is going to be broken up here between two flavors of warband here, and not too much in the way of special rules here. Basically, you can have access to tough fighters. So let's dig in here. So we can have Frank, Alemanni, Rugian, medium infantry warbands with swords and heavy throwing axes or throwing spears, and again, just counts as pila for rules purposes. And again, our typical warband stats here: wonderful clash of 9, 28 points per unit. And half of these units we can upgrade to tough fighters for an extra point, which for, just 1 point, and again, considering it's our only special rule in the list here, you might as well max that out. 1 point is not all that much to ask for just to gain that ability. Then the other flavor here, which is slightly cheaper, is Frank Burgundian medium infantry warbands with swords and javelins. Okay, so basically not quite as powerful in that sense compared to the previous one, where they essentially have pseudo pila and can take advantage of that rule. So again, you get a 3-point discount there, and basically everything is exactly the same across the board. And again, half of those units we can upgrade to tough fighters. So basically, having a good mix between those, I think, is just going to be the way to go. Get a little bit of everything there, and again, that just gives you ultimately more units, more total units that can have tough fighter when you go that route. Now, we get a little bit in the long-range department here, so just actually a light infantry archer unit, not a small unit, which is useful here. So, again, light infantry stat line, but it gives us that wonderful 3 for the long-range shooting there, and 22 points a pop there. We get a very minimal skirmisher package here. So skirmishers with javelins as small units. Again, we've seen that over and over again, 11 points. And then a bow armed variant as well for 12 points. Again, well worth loading up on those, just again, so you can have a little bit of ranged to help out the warbands. Again, they're going to be really nasty early on, but then fade as battles become, or engagements become protracted. So again, not going to be the greatest list for staying power here. So really, you just have to smash people in the face and break through. So any extra damage that your skirmishers and archers can put on, always a good thing. Finally, the cavalry component here, and again, it's an interesting list, or not interesting list, but sorry, an interesting unit because it's a full-sized light cavalry unit. So noble light cavalry with spears and or javelins. So clash of 7, sustain 5. Again, we haven't seen a lot of just normal-sized light cavalry units. 6 up save, 25 points per. Would have been interesting to maybe have some sort of special rule for them. Otherwise, they're just kind of a generic unit here. But again, it is your only cavalry, so worth at least considering taking your 10% allotment of that, just to have a little bit of diversity in the list again and deal with other threats and be able to get across the battlefield a little bit faster to go break through the enemy and do the usual things that cavalry will do. Now, the interesting thing is here we can actually upgrade all the cavalry, unlike with the warbands where only half can be tough fighters, but we're not upgrading into any special rules. We're actually just upgrading into a medium cavalry profile, which for 2 points extra is worth considering just to get that extra bit of clash and the better morale save. So basically you're paying a point per ability increase there. Again, would have been nice to see some sort of special ability there, but again, this is still just an infantry dominated list. So, and of course, then we round that out with commanders and general at leadership 8, which again is perfectly fine. That's the average and gives us a nice solid list here. So again, somewhat similar to the Saxons, just lots and lots of warbands, ram those down the opponent's throat basically, and have enough essentially ranged ability with archers and skirmishers, and a little bit of cavalry to mitigate any enemy advantages that they might have depending on their faction, and then just letting your warbands do their thing and just hope that the dice are with you there. So again, fun list, could be really cool to model and paint. Any specific models, don't think Warlord has anything that's specifically Franks, but again, various plastics there could be used, I think, to ultimately represent them more or less. So, that being said, guys, let us know what you think of the Franks, and if you've played this particular list, and what kind of opponents have you been up against. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning in, and if you guys could hit that like and subscribe, it helps continue to help the channel grow. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more, check out the link in the description there. Anything you pick up from Warlord via that link helps support the channel. So appreciate everybody who's been doing that. Take care, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.